Music, is definitely one of the best leaders. In K-pop today, he stays pretty calm and collected. In situations that would have made any person explode. Not to mention how his members love teasing each other. So you can only imagine the amount of patience he has to endure it, most likely to sing in the shower a 1, 2, 3. However, can also be intimidating at times. Since let's be honest, he can get angry as well, but in the case of he can get pretty angry when he reached his limits. Super angry, and well, I admit he looks hot while doing so. Namjoon losing his skull is the last thing we want to see, since he's scary, like super scary. I know you guys want to see these moments, so don't worry, because I prepared a list just for you. Let's get started. Being a leader means has to handle most of the questions thrown at them. This is very true when the boys would promote in the US, since he's very much fluent in English, and while the members are slowly but surely learning the language, is still their designated translator until they are fully confident to speak well. Because of this, has a few shares of hair-grabbing moments, because the questions thrown at them range from absurd to straight-up nonsense. For example, the boys were once asked whether Big Head Entertainment was preparing to debut with the report called as, quote, the next BTS, while the other members were looking rather uncomfortable, and just all in all, over these kinds of questions, was silently taking notes. However, the look on his face tells an entirely different story. Look at that eyebrow raise, and while he didn't answer the question himself, it's still obvious how insensitive questions like this don't amuse him. Kudos to Jin and Timon for handling the situation nicely, though your leader is surely proud of you. Another time looked pretty offended during a press con was when they were asked about the plagiarism issue they were facing, and while asking questions like this is pretty normal, it's still very rude to throw in such a query while the boys just came back with another song. The members were obviously caught off guard, like, seriously, who would bring up such a sensitive topic? Without much warning, Yoongi tried helping out by asking the reporter to clarify his question, since it's a tricky one and BTS knows it can cause them a lot if they answer it in the wrong way. However, the reporter wasn't finished, because after getting told to ask a much clearer question, he just blatantly mentioned the plagiarism issue, and this is when completely flipped, like his whole facial expression turned darker. Thankfully, Yoongi senses RM's leader signal and handled the situation like a pro. But seriously, when will reporters know their limits? Oh well, maybe not in the near future, because this was not the last time has to deal with questions like this. This happened while the boys were promoting in the US, and we already know how much of a roller coaster ride interviews can get when BTS is in America. So when BTS was once asked whether they will be releasing a full English album, Namjoon just had enough and dropped a savage answer saying, will we produce a whole album in English? That's the question. Turns out we were not the only one who is already over these kinds of questions, and hopefully the boy can have a smooth sailing interview in the US next time. At least one decent interview, because they deserve to be treated like that. At least moving on, their results of one time has to handle a tricky question well, indirectly at least. So basically, when the boys attended the Billboard Music Awards, they were asked what K-pop band they thought would also make it big in America. It's definitely a sensitive question, since a lot can be taken out from their answer, especially when Namjoon has to translate it to English. So when he finished translating the question in Korean for his members to answer, he gave J-Hope a subtle warning when the rapper tried to answer the question. Were you able to catch his quick "be careful"? Since honestly, I had to replay the video a couple of times before I noticed it, and that was hot. I wasn't the only one who found appealing that time. Right, next up, let's talk about the members. Okay, armies know these 6 members of BTS can be too much to handle, and most of the time they're a bunch of kids who want to have fun off stage. However, they would also bring their fun side on stage, especially during award ceremonies, which in RM's opinion is a big no-no. So whenever his mem would misbehave or just get a little too playful when they receive their awards, would be seen sorting them out and making them stop what they were doing. This is exactly what happened when the boys were accepting their punong at these hall Music Awards, and while the eldest was handling the acceptance speech pretty well, Shuka v Tim and Hope were pretty busy with something else. Let's just say they were having an interesting discussion about something and decided to bunch in the corner. Was continuously glancing at them, and you bet he was sending them his leader signals, but to no avail, so he has no choice but to walk towards them and tell them to stop. He even pulls Jimon and nudges him towards the mic as if to tell him to say something as well, and while we all know he means well, the few taps he gave Jim before walking oozes a lot of leader aura, like a lot, not to mention that eyebrow raise again. Woo, he might be losing his cool right then, but he still looks pretty hot. This was not the last time has to keep his members at bay while they were on stage, since something similar happened this time when they won at the Melon Music Awards. Everything was going pretty smoothly and just finished his speech, but when J-Hope was delivering his own acceptance speech, the Mughal line were having the time of their lives. Like literally they were talking about something funny, I guess, and while let them off the hook at first, they didn't stop. Chin seems to notice RM's facial expression and tried pacifying his tongue, saying but to no avail, so has to step back, walk across the group, give them a few telling tops on their back, and voila, they settled. Look at how JK's smile disappeared the moment passed them. Woo, he really is pretty intimidating when he loses his cool. Woo, like look at that facial expression moving forward when V started asking for a water bottle in the middle of a concert. Was looking low-key worried. Heck, look at how he gestured at him to just sit down and get the water later, and while fans were confused at first, since all V did was ask for something to drink, since he might be pretty thirsty, they soon realized why was acting rather serious. Well, the transition to their next song, Microcosmos, would zoom into Tae's face, and knows that, not to mention how T almost spilled the water while he hurried to get ready for his one shot. While can get pretty intimidating at times, his members trust him a lot and armies know that, right? Maybe that's the reason why they would listen to him attentively during concerts, or even look at him while they answer questions or give speeches, as if asking if they are doing the right thing. I know it's pretty adorable to see the members lean towards for support, and despite being brats sometimes, well, CB rats in their case, BTS respects as a friend and most importantly as a leader, and maybe that's one of the many reasons why they are super successful today. Anyways, what do you guys think? Do you have any moments you want to share? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to give this video a like and stay tuned for more. See you next time.